bay you helplessly like a love-struck puppy. Before we proceed with this presentation, there's one thing that I must ask you to promise me, as I'm going to show you some pretty hardcore black ops mind control and covert psychology material. You must agree that you'll never misuse this knowledge to hurt women. Agree? Cool. All right, now let's get started. From the blogs and magazines you've read, you may think that I've always been one of the world's biggest authorities on mind control attraction, while I was, in fact, the total opposite. You see, back when I was in my 20s, I was just a regular guy with a job as a computer programmer in Chicago. For a guy my age, I made pretty good money. I drove an Acura, and I lived in a beautiful one-bedroom apartment overlooking the lake. While I was not handsome by any standard, I was what most women would agree to be, well, moderately decent looking. I kept myself in good shape by working out regularly, and I had smart, clean clothes on me all the time. And despite all this, everywhere I go, women would hardly take a second look at me. It's embarrassing for me to admit this to you now, yet I was a complete and utter disaster when it came to love and relationships. In fact, I would only be half joking if I would tell you that my dating life was as dry as Fred Flintstone's feet. Not only that, it was incredibly frustrating, because whenever I liked someone, she would never like me in return. Now, looking back, I could understand why, because whenever I met a beautiful girl, I would totally freeze up. Worse, I'd get anxious and start to fidget and sweat uncontrollably. Ever since I was a kid, I'd always been somewhat awkward. Socially, I was rather inept, and I found small talk to be especially tiresome and excruciating. I was painfully insecure, and for these reasons, as you can imagine, I wasn't exactly very popular. At the office, for example, I almost never got invited to drinks after work, and my female colleagues had avoided me as if I was the serial molester from hell. Behind my back, they would call me nicknames